Hey, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? I was seeing if I was having some issues with my audio. Jump in the chat if you can hear me. Oh, awesome. Hi, Bridget, Shane, Lauren. Great. Happy Thursday. Awesome. I'll give everybody a minute to come in. Yes, happy pre-Friday. Awesome. Well, everyone's trickling in. I always like to ask where everybody is calling in from. So drop where you're at in the chat. And if it's your first time or if you're returning to our webinars. Awesome. Allie from Boston, Jake from Utah, Boise, Pittsburgh. Oh, we got all over. Florida, Los Angeles, Houston, first timer, welcome. We do these webinars typically monthly. We try to do them at least monthly or definitely whenever there's new topics that our audience is looking for in the space. So awesome. Cool. It looks like most people are trickled in. So I'll just get a little bit started on our background. So so we do these webinars, like I said, monthly to bi-monthly, depending on what topics pop up that we see that our brands are wanting to learn more about. A little bit about my background. So I'm founder CEO of Statusphere. I've been in the social marketing space for the last 10 years. So I started actually as a blogger way back in 2010. Then flipped over and started running influencer campaigns and activations for brands for the last 10 plus years. And really just kept finding that in the space, I couldn't find a platform that did what I wanted to do. So I ended up creating my own with Statusphere. So because we live and breathe in this space, we're always looking and making sure that we're up to date on all of the many changes that are happening weekly and monthly, and trying to make sure that we give marketers all of the top information. So with that, I'm excited to kick off today. We are going to be covering creator communities at scale. This is a hot topic that's a lot of our brands have been chatting about and asking questions about. So we thought we'd do a deep dive of how to build a sustainable community, kind of the benefits of it, where to start, all of those different pieces. And then, like I mentioned, just to recap also what Statusphere does, because I'm very excited to announce that we have a new community building feature that we're looking to get feedback on, and we have a lot of brands jumping on board and using. So I'm going to chat about that as well. So like I mentioned, I started Statusphere a few years ago. We help brands scale micro influencer marketing in a fraction of the time. We've done over 75,000 brand creator collaborations. We facilitated that many through our platform. So we have tons of data. We get tons of feedback from our brands. And then we use that feedback and that data to pull together these webinars and pull these learnings each month. So we have a lot of experience in B2C brands, as you can imagine. So think of CPG, beauty across the board. So I'll try to leave some questions or some time at the end for questions and answers, and we'll do that as well. But that new feature that I was telling you that we're launching, so we are helping brands really manage their community. So right now, Statusphere, we have always been really great at helping brands turnkey way to get people posting about you online. And now we're helping brands really build those communities at scale and in an even more systematic way. So allowing you to have one place to build and manage your creator community. Your creators would have living profiles, and then you can segment based on them. I can talk about that later, or you can sign up for a demo. But one thing I want to talk about today too is that we are actually looking for 5 brands that we want to specifically work with who are going to be using the community management part of our platform, that want to be beta users that we can interview, that we can show you designs and get feedback on in exchange for a discount. So we are also looking for brands. So if you are a brand looking to build a community of 500 plus creators in the next year or more, you are somebody that we want to talk to. And like I said, there will be also a nice discount involved for you giving your feedback on the product and some of the cool new features, and you'll get first access to all the new features that we're building. So I'll have Brent drop the landing page in the chat as well, and then we'll show it again at the end. So if you're interested, just fill out that form and we'll reach out to you and see if we can get you onboarded onto that. So there's a button to apply now for that. But what are we going to cover today? So today we're going to cover a few things. Why are brands creating creator communities? Because we're seeing more and more successful brands have very large and engaged communities that they've built. So we're going to talk about why are brands doing that? What's the ROI they're seeing? Then tips for growing and scaling your brand's community. Once you build it, how can you best leverage it? And then maximizing that ROI as well, with some examples of brands that are doing a really great job. Because I always think that getting inspiration from other brands and seeing it in real life is really what can be very inspirational for a brand, and figure out what your next steps are. So with that, why are so many brands building these creator communities? So we've all seen this stat before, but the rule of 7 is still applies. So it takes 7, and some studies are even showing 10 to 12 touches to turn a customer into a sale, especially if they don't know your brand. So when you start building these creator communities, when you work with a creator over and over again, you can start getting multiple of those touches. So it builds authenticity, it saves time. You get those multiple touches with the same audience so that you can move their community down the funnel, right? And then you also can get really great content from these creators in your community that you can use in ads, which if you've been to some of our other webinars that we've done deep dives into how to use creator content in ads and all the great benefits of that, there's so many studies that show it really helps bring down your customer acquisition costs and increase the efficiencies of your CPMs by using creator content. Which all leads back to the fact that creator content, if done correctly and you build the right community, is authentic. So with that said, with building a community, you get more authentic content. So if you seed a bunch of creators and they're using your product for the first time, you can get amazing content and reactions. But if you start getting creators that are like big fans of your product, that use it regularly, that post about it monthly, that's a whole nother layer of authentic content that you start to build. So we found with a lot of the brands that we work with that they would use our platform to get lots of creators posting, pick their favorite ones, and then start working with them over time to build those relationships, which just starts building more and more authentic content for your brand. One stat that was interesting is that as of Q1 of 2024, that brands are up 16% of brands doing always on collabs with creators. So having consistent collabs month over month is becoming a core part of brand strategy. Also, you get, as you curate your community, you're going to get a higher percent of repurposable content. So we all know it's very hard to know if a creator is a fit until you see a creator interact with your product, right? So get cast a wide net, get 100 people posting, see those ones that just really light up with your products, that have that perfect creator product fit, brand fit, and then pull those into your community. And then as you start re-engaging that audience, you will get a higher percent of repurposable content. So this is something we're working with brands to get that percent of repurposable content up. And then you can tap into a single community to hit multiple goals. They can help you with brand awareness, ads, retail support, product launches, even product feedback. So we'll talk about that today. Communities also help brands reduce wasted product and resources. So this has actually been a hot topic in the creator community. There's been a lot of backlash actually to just sending random products to creators. So you can see some of these articles here. Influencer gifting creates waste. Why surprise and delight doesn't apply to influencer gifting anymore. A bunch of creators are coming out saying, like, we don't want product just showing up at our door that we don't want. Like, brands are sending entire lines of foundation. You clearly can't use all of it. When you build a community and you're tapping into that and they're opting in, you can reduce the waste significantly and you can increase your post rate. So we'll talk about that as well, is getting creator opt-in when you send gifting and seeding campaigns reduces waste and also can uptick in the creators posting about it, because it's not just showing up at the wrong house. It's not a creator who has no intention to post about it, all those different things. So another article in Ad Age said influencers are regularly throwing away thousands of dollars in products that they didn't ask for. This is also an important time to talk about swag. Like, when you think about sending swag of your brand, make sure it's something that they're actually going to use. I've heard a lot of creators having backlash to getting the same type of swag from a million different brands. Like, they're like, I'm not gonna use this plastic cup with your logo on it, for example. You know, something that's a little bit more elevated that you're actually going to use. And then, increasing that post rate success, fewer lost orders. Consistency through the community makes it easier to plan your gifting budget and promotional content calendar if you have that community that's ready to activate. You're not starting from square one. And then, of course, communities cultivate social proof. In a world where we now have this algorithm that is looking to see who's posting about what, you want to make sure that you have this whole community of people that are talking about you in different places, so that when people search you on TikTok or Instagram, that you come up. It allows you also to stay top of mind with your target audience long term. For example, a beauty creator promoting the same skincare routine for products for 6+ months. Maybe when I see a creator I follow post once, twice, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I see how her skin has improved, especially for products that like take a while to see the results. Working with creators over time is imperative so that you can actually see those results and get those honest feedback and reviews. And then, bigger communities, bigger reach. Obviously, that makes sense. And then 61% of all adult consumers have purchased something based on a creator recommendation. So if you're here, you're probably doing influencer. So you know that and creator posts. So you know that it works, but really being able to scale that is key. And then it also helps you break through the noise. So communities boost ad performance and search visibility. So when we go back to those 7 touches, if you're running ads and you have a whole community posting about you, it just fills your funnel faster. So you have people going to your site, they're getting retargeting, they're getting all the different pieces, they're seeing a creator post. It's like a very important part of the creator journey right now and discovery for creators. 60% of Gen Z buy products on social search, 45% from influencers. So we have an entire webinar on social search as well. Brent, if you want to pop that up. So if you guys want to do a deep dive on the fact that Gen Z and millennials are actually going to TikTok and Instagram instead of Google. So you need to be able to create campaigns that actually get you ranking in those platforms. So I have a whole webinar on that, so I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. But it is a very important thing to understand in the buyer's journey, that it's changing. They're not going to Google anymore. They're going straight to TikTok and Instagram. And that's why communities are so important, because otherwise people will never know that you are the solution to their problems. Ads with creators see higher return on ad spend from both TikTok and Instagram. So taking that content and using it in ads is one of the best ways to see ROI immediately, getting that authentic content and then repurposing it. Of course, with the creators' approval, and you have to get the rights from them. But if you do that, that's a really great way to increase that as well. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And then lastly, creators crave community. So 79% of creators prefer long-term collaborations. They want to build their own communities and their own audience where it's authentic. They don't want to just post about a product and just be done with it and make it transactional. They want to partner with brands that they truly love. So it's really a win-win relationship on both sides. Creators also appreciate consistent collabs of products and brands they love, so it's not random. And then an opportunity to provide more upside to these creators. So you can, integrate your affiliate programs. TikTok Shop now is a great way to give them upside. Selling their Spark ad codes so they can charge extra for you to spark their content. Rewards and loyalty incentives in general, you can layer on top of your communities too. So part 2, so how to grow and scale your influencer community. So you've decided you want to build one. And so how are you going to actually do that? First, you'll start by building your inbound influencer pipeline. And actually, I see a poll just popped up too. So feel free to answer that if you want. I think it came up a little bit late. Normally we pop that up in the beginning. But what's the biggest struggle you have with managing your current creator community? Feel free to fill that out, and then we'll dive in at the end. So whatever ones everyone says are their top problems that they're having. So jumping into how to build your community. So how to build your inbound pipeline. Number 1 is add an influencer application to your website. If you want to build a community, you need to have some landing page or a landing place for them to join your community. So how can creators join if you don't have that, right? So what you can do, a great tip for that is to build requirements into your application for pre-vetting creators. And this is something actually Statusphere can help with. So we have, we actually have built out a full functionality to be able to build a custom landing page and help you gather those pieces. So if you find that you're having trouble doing this on your own, that is part of our community building offer that we can help you with. But you can build a beautiful landing page like this that you can send when someone DMs you and says that they want to work with you. You can send them to one centralized place so that you have one database that you're building of all of the creators of your community, and then you can segment them as well from there. Then the next part that really will take your community to the next level is setting criteria for your ideal influencers. So Every brand is going to be different of the ideal creators they want to have a part of their community. Some brands might just want to have as many people as possible that love their brand. Some might be very picky about the exact aesthetic and what they do and who they stand for and all those different pieces. So every brand is different. So it is really important that you identify your ideal creator profile, and then tell yourself, as people apply, you need to vet each creator and add them to your network. This is also something that we are helping with brands do on that side, but you can also do it on your own. Set up your form, have it go to a spreadsheet, and then you can like tag the different creators as you're going through. But from a influencer scoring perspective, think of it as similar to lead scoring. If you're used to doing that when leads come to your website, you want to figure out who is the top one and create like a scoring system around it so that you can accept them at scale. Next, you want to show that you truly care about your community. So this sounds obvious, but you can have all these people sign up and then they never hear from you, or they don't get a welcome email that tells you about their brand, or you end up sending them products that aren't actually what they want. So I've seen examples of like shampoo brands will send out a product and it doesn't work for women with curly hair, but they seeded it to a bunch of women with curly hair. That's where things can really backfire. So you have to be careful about that. Also, give them upside with rate setting and personalized products and Spark ads. You want to make sure it's easy for creators to onboard. So if you're seeding them product, and don't expect anything in return, and genuinely build that relationship. And then if you are doing it a collab where you're paying them, you are going to have to make sure that you understand what the contract is and everything around that. And then lastly, I say this in almost every webinar, always give permission before you send creator products and gifts, because of the fact that it increases post rate success, maintains your brand reputation, and reduces waste. Because there's actually content that these are content of it going the right way, screenshots, but there's tons of content online where creators have been gifted stuff and they actually end up posting negatively about the brand, saying it's wasteful and all of these different things, and you don't want to be in that bucket. And then grow your community by running consistent campaigns. The only way to grow your community is by constantly reaching out to new creators, casting that wide net, and then pulling the ones into the fold and into your community that really embody your brand. So that is something too, at Statusphere, that we can help with, is really casting that net, because like I said, it's really hard to know if a creator is right for your brand until they actually interact with the product and really see how it works with them. So that's a really great way to do it. I recommend having goals around how many new creators you reach out to a month. And that's a really great way to make sure you're building your community funnel. So we have this many that we're reaching out to, this many posts. Of those, we then select this many to join our community. And that's how we can actually create an actionable plan for you to get to the goal that you want for the size of your community. And then automate as many of your influencer tasks as possible. So spreadsheets are very powerful. You can do a lot with them. You can have them filter in. You can try to create some like automations within them. I've done that many times, and there's definitely ways around it. But there also are management tools out there to help you with those different pieces. And just like when you're vetting to figure out which management tool is right for you, just think about the time savings, how many team members a time it would save where they can do things that are actually more valuable. And really with the ROI of how you can also use that content. Do those platforms make it easier for you to use content in multiple places as well? And then make micro influencers the cornerstone of your community. This is probably obvious, but micro influencers and these smaller creators, they are the ones that are craving community. They're moving the needle. They're authentic. They really have brands that they love. And if you build a community of these, you can make so much impact, even compared to one or two macro influencers. And people know that it's authentic, because most of the time, if you're gifting them product for their birthday and gifting them product for this, they're posting about you because they want to and because you built that relationship with them, not because it's some transactional type of post, which everyone knows with big celebrities, it's pay to play with that. But 73% of brands actually prefer micros over the macros. And then 10% average engagement rate across campaigns last year is kind of the average that we're seeing. But micro influencers are cited by brands as the most effective type of creator in 2024, which probably doesn't surprise most people, since follower count really is becoming less and less of an important metric. And it's really going back to that authenticity. And then create connection at scale. Identify different moments, like special life moments that you want to celebrate for creators. This is where you really can take your community to a next level. And that's where you really build this like connection where the creator doesn't just think of you as a brand, they think of you as a friend, they think of you as a long-term partner, you know, sending them even just a little birthday card or coupon or gift, or for Mother's Day, sending all your moms something, Father's Day, sending all your dads something. If they have a pregnancy announcement, sending them flowers, you know, those things go a long way. And those creators will be very loyal to you, just like you would to a friend who remembers all those things as well. So I think that the brands that are doing this well have really tapped into that personalized effect, and scaled it to the point where they can do it across their community. And then lastly, creative freedom equals authenticity. If you start giving too many requirements to your community, it becomes less authentic, and you also may turn some creators away. And this is why it becomes so important to also know your ideal creator profile. But it's really important to think through, okay, what requirements am I going to have these creators do? Even ask them what they think is reasonable. Like, have conversations with your creators. That's like a great way to build those relationships, show them you care, while also making sure you're not asking for too much. So now once you build that community, once you've created that landing page, you start building this database that you have. How do you make sure that you can boost the returns from the community that you're building? So from going back to the building of the relationships, so community are like, they want to be authentic, and they're willing to go the extra mile if you put in those extra touch points. So going back to, once you built your community, think through those different touch points to build those authentic moments with them, you know, those birthday gifts, those different pieces as well. They're also perfect candidates for promoting products, social ads, and in-store launches. You can also use your creator community to gather valuable feedback faster. I was listening to the founder, and we'll have her an example of their brand later, but of the founder of Bubble, talk about how they built this incredible community of like thousands of people, and they actually get feedback too as they're doing product development. So you can do a lot of things with your community as well, even outside, to pull them in, you know. Also product launches. There's no way to make your community feel more special than if you actually tell them they're getting something before everyone else does. So tell them like, hey, we are choosing you to get early access to this product, and leave a review or give us feedback on all of those different pieces. That exclusivity is huge when it comes to creators. And then leveraging those UGC and paid ads. So once you get that content, so monitoring who posts, reaching out, getting the rights to the content, and then using it, that's where you can really show black and white ROI, because creating content takes time. We all know that. So when talking to your team and figuring out how much budget to allocate, you thinking about your community as a way to actually maximize your ad and paid performance is a great way to argue for more budget to get more creators posting with your community. And here's some stats that are, Meta's always coming out with new stats all the time, but it's always showing how much creator ads outperform business as usual ads. So on Instagram, creator ads outperform business as usual 99% of the time. Creator ads result in 15% higher return on ad spend on Instagram. CPG brands see 96% higher return on ad spend with Spark ads versus other channels. And then Spark ads outperform non-creator ads across the board in terms of completion rate, engagement rate, and CDR. So when you're looking at reasons why you should be incorporating creator content into your ad channel, there's very few reasons that you shouldn't be doing that. Also with ad fatigue at an all-time high, which means that you constantly need to get more ad creative out there. Having a community of people that are creating more content consistently gives you that content engine to make sure you never run out of ad fatigue. And then be consistent with your community. So communities can't build momentum if they're stop and go. You know, oh, I haven't heard from them in 6 months. I hear from them. I don't, you know, it's really hard to actually build that connection. It's kind of like, you know, a friendship in general. If you don't put the effort in on one side, it's really hard to build that. So I always tell brands that are looking to build out a community to first start with that goal of your end goal of where you want to get in the next 6 months or a year. Work backwards, and think about how many activations you're going to do. So common activations, we have some brands that do every single month they do always on. So every month there's always something happening. They're doing send outs. Other brands are very specific about product launches, and then they'll layer in some other campaigns here and there for content purposes and things like that. But I think it's important to like take a step back and try to plan out. I know we all don't have the luxury of maybe planning out a year, but even the next 3 to 6 months, try to plan that out to make sure that you're having a good consistency of a cadence of connecting with your community. And then don't micromanage them. So we talked about the authenticity being one of their biggest value points. So if you micromanage them, that authenticity can sometimes go out the window. You don't want to give scripts or things like that. You want them to tell their true experience. We have a few quotes here from a few of our team members, our director of member relations, who deals with thousands and thousands and thousands of creators, saying, creators are creators for a reason because they're creative. They typically know their audience best and they know what formats work best. So if you are pulling someone into your community, trust the direction that they take the content in, and test and learn and in general. And then Alexa, who's also on our member side and actually a creator herself, she always says she appreciates some inspo, but art directing every detail and a million to-dos is just a poor creator experience. And that's going to cause your community to really dwindle if you're giving them a million things to do. So remember, you want to have that happy medium when you're dealing with your creators. And then here's some examples of community building done right. So like I said at the top of the meeting, I love giving examples of real brands that are knocking it out of the park. I always recommend that you follow them and take inspo from them because I think that that's one of the best ways to learn. One of my favorites is Charlotte Tilbury. So they have a really great, massive creator presence of all different levels. They lean heavily on influencers for product launches, and pretty much every ad I've seen of them is a piece of creator content. I think they really highlight the power of that always on approach. Diff Eyewear is another one. They really unite their community through charitable causes. So that's a different way to go about it, really getting everyone together to talk about something. So they like accept brand ambassadors. They do personalized gifts with new product launches. So really getting that creativity and that personal connection out there. Honey Stinger, in like more the fitness space, they have a dedicated partner program. So they partner with athletes, new runners, people of all different fitness levels to create all different varieties of content. So I, can imagine that they have a segment of their community that's maybe like newbies versus like fitness experts, and they probably gift different things to those different levels, so that they can get an array of content as they're moving people through the funnel and as they're going after different audiences. And then I mentioned Bubble earlier. They have an incredible community. So you can see their community page where you can apply. And then they actually engage with them every single month, right? And then that new product launch that I was talking about at the top of the call. So we did launch our community building feature. I know a lot of our current customers and brands are also on this webinar as well. So you've been hearing us tease this for quite a while. But we have a lot of new features launching, and we are looking for those 5 brands to be part of our beta program to give us feedback as we launch even more and give you early access to even more of the features. But to show you what you can access with our platform is really creating an advocacy program where your favorite creators can always feel like VIPs. So you can build and manage your creator community in one place. So you can have your profile data points, your post history, your performance, and there's living profiles that you can target based on all those different campaigns. And then you can easily manage those inbound creators. So we've been already, working with several brands on creating these pages where you can actually inbound, and we can help you capture all of those leads from creators that want to be an ambassador for you. So you can create a completely custom landing page with your branding. Really easy for lead gen, and then it goes into our backend where you can then approve or waitlist any of the creators that come through, and then it allows you to segment them for different campaigns that you're working with. And then lastly, the part that I'm most excited about that we've seen so much traction with is on the relationship builder side. So allowing you to create connection at scale, because it's really hard to take that personalized connection and scale it all the way up, right? So we want to be able to create lasting relationships, but if you have 2,000 creators, how do you do that, right? So we launched a program where you can actually say, I want to send all the creators that have a birthday this month a birthday gift. And I want to keep that always on campaign going. So you're always having that touch point. So it's very personalized, but you're still able to scale it. So we're helping you scale that personalized touch. Or if you want to send that gift for all of the moms for Mother's Day or anniversaries or different things like that. So we're really excited about all of these newer product features. And if you are excited or if you are interested in the beta, please apply there or share with any brands that you think would be a great fit for that as well. And it looks like we have some time. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit if you have any questions. And this is recorded, so you will get the recording of it afterward if you missed anything else as well. But that, any questions that pop up, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can also email me. You'll get the email of the recording. It comes from my email, so feel free to respond to it if you have any questions or comments as well. And I'm also going to check out that poll because it does look like the top answer of what the biggest struggle for creating your creator community is managing those spreadsheets, which I definitely see a lot out there. And I used to do that a lot. The spreadsheets are, yes, they're a helpful tool, but they're very, very tedious and they don't always do exactly what you need to do. Then it looks like managing one-on-one DMs and then too few creator posts when gifting products, which, like I said, if you try the opt-in approach, that's one way to get that up right away, is by getting creators to opt in before they do their creator posts. But with that, if there's no other questions, I'll wrap things up. We'll send the recording. Check out our website for more resources. Like I mentioned, the SEO webinar, social SEO webinar. We have one specifically on ads and how to leverage creator content in ads the best ways possible. So feel free to check that out on our website. And we hope we'll see you at the next webinar. Bye, everybody.